Hello, I'm so glad you can join us here at Plan B Works. Today we are going to create our last card for the pattern paper card series, and it's going to be an interactive Valentine's Day card. I'll be making two today because these are for my kids, one who is in love with dump trucks and the other one is in love with Curious George the Monkey. Now you can see from this project that I've used my pattern papers not just as a background, but as part of my elements as well. And that is the main focus of our card today. Now I'm starting this card with pieces that are already made ahead of time from my Cricut. And unfortunately, I cannot demonstrate how I did this because it will take a while. So instead, I'm just going to show you that at the back, this is just one piece of dump truck that I've cut to several parts so that I can make the open box dump box interactive. And you can see here that the tire I made is also an extra that I cut from cardstock. But you can see here the most important bit is that little piece that I need to hinge together so that this little dump truck will be interactive. Because ultimately this is just one whole piece and I just cut several bits of cardstock and pattern paper to define those parts like the dump box and the tires. So what we're going to do here is use a needle and thread to hinge those tiny pieces together because you cannot do that with a stud, and that's what we're going to do. I've already threaded the end of this needle and I just pierce that through the paper or the cardstock and just pull the needle out and then thread that again as close as you can to the cardstock, tight enough to secure it but loose enough to make your project move or interactive. There you go. And the next step would obviously be just to cut this needle as close as you can to that knot without cutting that knot in half. There we go. Now you can see here that I have that little tire floating and it has a foam tape in the back. And the purpose of that foam tape is to hide that little knot that we made in the beginning. And it also adds a little bit of dimension to the tires. There we go. And it hides that knot nicely. And you can see that our little dump box is now hinged to that and it moves and makes it interactive. Now, this is not a child's play thing, so you don't have to worry that it should withstand a test of time. All you need to do is to make it interactive enough for the card to move and to create that delight to your recipient. In this case, my 5-year-old son. Now I'm just going to create the load that my dump truck will have, and this will be the easiest part of the card actually. Now as you can see, I'm using a different kind of pattern paper here. It is loaded with hearts and that's exactly how I plan it to be. When I saw this pattern paper, I said this has to be my truckload, and it's just so cool how that came out. I made sure that some of the hearts stood out. And this is my interactive little dump truck for my son's card. Now the rest will be easy. All you need to do is pick out your background and you've got your interactive Valentine's Day card using your pattern papers as well. Now I'm using this beautiful cardstock or pattern paper as a background because when I look at it, it actually sort of looks like a construction site. But I think I will cover that brown bit with more of my heart pattern paper cardstock because I think it makes more sense that I'm already dumping more hearts into an existing pile. And I think that's a better plan to do. But with that, I'm also adding my sentiment that says loads of love and he'd emboss that. And just like that, you'll already have your card. Now, unfortunately, I cannot demonstrate how that little dump truck was made, but what I wanted to focus on was using the pattern papers and that hack, because you can use many kinds of elements that move around and making it interactive, and not just that dump truck. You can create hearts that are mending together, open hearts or broken hearts that mend together using this thread and needle hack right here without having to use any kind of special die or machine. All you need to do is just use your creativity and some really cute pattern papers. Now I'm just using my clear glitter glue here, again from the Dollar Tree, and it just adds a little bit more glitter and shine to my project. And this is my final card. I love how it looks. I'm sure my son is going to love it. Like I said, it doesn't have to withstand the test of time, but it would be nice that they have something to move around when they find this card. For my next card, I'm going to create a slider card, and I'm going to use this Lawn Fawn set of stamps. It's very well loved, as you can tell. This was my very first Lawn Fawn set, and I absolutely love it. You can also see here that I have an interactive die set that will allow you to create projects that move in circles, side to side. But for this particular project, we won't be using that, and I will teach you how. Now the first thing we're going to do obviously is to color in this stamped image of our monkey and vines as well as the flowers, and then we can proceed with the rest of the project. Now after I've stamped the image here, I'm just going to color it in. But the kind of interactive die that we're going to use today, if you look it up on the internet, you will find many ways to make interactive cards without using special dies. In fact, some use pennies, some use all kinds of tricks to make this happen. However, for this particular card, I'm just going to use papers and cardstocks to make this happen without having to use pennies. And after I color these images in, this little monkey and these little flowers, I will die cut them. Now, I know I said I won't be using dies, but these are very intricate images that I would prefer to use a die cut for, but obviously you don't have to. You can cut them if you want. And like I said, you can use any other image to use as your elements. I just happen to have these in handy. Now I have that little monkey there, and like this little gift box that I created is very simple. It's just a square pattern paper. And this is how we're going to do it. First, we're going to measure the area where we want our image to move. At the end of the day, it's not so much about using the kind of elements that I used here, but using what you have and using the technique that I'm teaching here today. So now that I know where my main element will be moving up and down from, I'm just going to mark that, and that's about 3.5 inches or so. And then I'm just going to create a slit from point to point, just like this. Nothing fancy, just a straight cut. And next I have here 2 strips of paper. That's about 2 inches and 1/2 inch wide, 2 inches long. And I'm just folding that in half and making like a letter T with it, and then slipping that into that slit. Now once you've got that into the slit, that will be the little platform that the little monkey will be on so that it can go up and down. You will notice throughout the rest of this video that I'm constantly measuring if that monkey is in the middle or it fits into the box, because that box will be right in the center. Now you don't have to do this, but I would prefer to use the same colored pattern paper to cover that stark white platform that the monkey will be in. That way, if it peeps through a little bit from the box, it won't be too obvious. Now you can see here that it already goes up and down when I move that platform from the back. And when I stick that monkey onto that platform, your interactive movement is already done. You can see here, there we go. Just cleaning out marks of the pencil here. And I will show you here that it already goes up and down from the back here. Again, just making sure that it fits into the box, and it does. Now I'm just adding a little bit of piece on that box and making it look like it's an open top. But you obviously don't have to do this, but it just makes it a little bit more finished and a little bit more complete. Now the next step is to create that strip from the back of the card that will pull that platform up and down. Now you have to use a heavy duty cardstock for this, or if you don't have one, just glue several cardstocks together. And in my case, that's what I'm doing. I'm gluing in a 200-pound cardstock here, and just making sure that it has enough length to go through my card. When you do this, put the platform to the bottom of the card so that you can measure accurately if you have enough that's left from the top, so that you have a little bit that sticks out that you can use to pull your image out from. Just like this. Now you're going to use foam tape on that box just to elevate it a little bit and give the monkey a little bit more space to move around in, going up and down. And in the back here, if you see, that strip wiggles a little bit because there's so much space to move around in. So to solve that, I'm putting these foam tape just on the side of this strip to create a track so it moves exactly on that allowed space and not move around side to side anymore. Just make sure that when you do this, it does not get in the way of your strip when you pull that up and down. Now again, I would like to stress out that you do not have to use special stamps or dies. Use what you have. What we're teaching here is basically the interactive hack that you can do without using any kind of special die. If you do not have stamps to create that little monkey, you can use hearts or cut out flowers or cut out balloons, and it will have the same effect. Now, I just used a little bit of pink pattern paper here as well to create my sentiment that says, "I love you more each day. Will you be my Valentine?" And that's basically my card. Now just make sure that you use foam tape when creating this, just so your strip does not rub too much on the back of your card. And just like that, we have a little monkey popping in and out of the box with flowers. And again, it's just a matter of using your creativity on what comes out of this box and making it your own. The beauty of this is that you can use many types of pattern papers, and you can use your different ideas to create this kind of effect. And this is my final card. I am absolutely in love how these cards turned out. I hope that you guys give these hacks a try and use your creativity to make it your own. And next month we're going to have more of these interactive cards, so I hope that you guys like and subscribe Plan V Works for more affordable crafting, resourceful hacks, and easy techniques. We'll see you guys again next time. Have a good one.